Hi, we're continuing our lesson on 3.1 Study 2. This time we're talking about distribution maps. Distribution maps. Like many ethnically divided nations, Afghanistan has a long history of conflict and political turmoil. The country has been embroiled in war since the late 1970s. Native Afghans were engaged in fighting a Soviet invasion, but they were also fighting each other for control of the country. Demography and war. Why has Afghanistan been in a civil war for so long? There's no easy answer to that question, but demographic information about the people of Afghanistan can shed some light. The population of Afghanistan is divided among four major ethnic groups as shown by the maps below. Although 10% of the population belongs to other ethnic groups such as the Amiks, Turkmen, Balak, and others, ethnic and tribal conflict has been a central part of the fighting in Afghanistan, and it still plagues the country today. Demography can help us understand the problems facing the world by showing where the people with different cultural traits live. This may not solve these problems, but a better understanding of the underlying causes of conflict at least put us on the road to resolving those conflicts. So if you click on this link, let's see. This just is going to go through various articles and images on Afghan history. It's not going to show us the map, but if you read through all of these, it'll show you why the differences in the groups of people would lead to conflict. So understanding the history is important to understanding why there's conflict and why there's still civil war today. Moving on to page 2, showing population traits. Every human population has a variety of cultural traits: ethnicity, religion, language, government type, and economic system, and on and on. Like people whose personality traits vary from one individual to the next, the cultural traits of the populations vary greatly. These cultural traits are distributed in various ways. Demographers use censuses and other population data to create maps indicating the spatial distribution of people and their cultural traits. Distribution maps usually focus on one particular cultural trait. For example, they may show how people with different ethnicities are spread throughout a region. There are also religious distribution maps, linguistic distribution maps, and others. Watch the slideshow to find out more about the different kinds of distribution maps. So, this one is population distribution. Most straightforward distribution maps show where people are, and they use color coding to differentiate the density. So the more people, the darker the color. So lots of people living in the red areas. Population distribution. This is a U.S. population distribution. Obviously, you see where it's lighter is where there are more people. 1 dot equals 7,500 people. Ethnic distribution. Specific cultural traits such as populations, ethnic makeup can be shown with the distribution map. This map shows where the people of Somalia ethnic groups are located. So different groups of ethnicities living together in certain regions. Here's an Africa ethnic distribution map. So you can see people who define themselves as one ethnicity being a certain color. And then if there's overlap is where there's shading. Linguistic distribution map, so languages of Belgium. So specifically, most of the people who live in this area speak Dutch language. The people in this part of Belgium speak French. This small portion of people in Belgium speak German. And then since this is the capital, there's crossover where people speak all of the languages. Moving on to page 3, information about distribution maps. You can quiz yourself here. Page 4, reading distribution maps. Distribution maps are useful for figuring out what daily life is like in other cultures. The map below shows how many different ethnic groups share the relatively small territory of southeastern Europe. It also shows places where several ethnic groups overlap. This means that there are different peoples must live side by side and either coexist or battle. This map can help us understand why there's often so much fighting in this region. All distribution maps can be used to draw conclusions about the life in the area shown. Take a minute to use distribution maps to speculate about the populations they represent. Which of these statements is the best conclusion that can be drawn from this map? There are no major cities in the Midwest. The East Coast is more crowded than the Midwest. The Northeast is most desirable place to live. most people live in New York than anywhere else. Well, we can't really see that. We can't see anybody's desires on this map. And this is not true. Major cities in the Midwest, we see lots of major cities in the Midwest. So it has to be, oh, whoops, I clicked the wrong one. East Coast is more crowded than the Midwest. Okay, and then question 2, which of these statements best supported by this map? Northern states have a tougher immigration laws. Well, percent foreign born by state. So um, more foreigners, the darker the color. So blue, less foreigners is white. Immigration tends to settle in coastal and border regions. California is the most ethnically diverse state. Again, we can't see how many people or how the different regions of ethnicities are here. Canada sends fewer immigrants to the United States than Mexico does. We can't tell that. We can't tell where people are coming from. Northern states have tougher immigration laws. We also can't tell that. So right here, what we can tell is immigrants usually will settle on the coasts more so than the Midwest. Okay, moving on to the last page. Answering questions about different peoples. Distribution maps can tell you a lot about what life is like for the people represented. They help answer questions such as why is Afghanistan such a war-torn country and where are the least crowded parts of the United States. There are lots of different questions you can ask about population that distribution maps can help you answer. What kinds of things would you like to know about your own people or the population of another country? Go ahead and click some of these maps. Population publications of the U.S. Census Bureau, gridded populations of the world, and Perry Kistata Library Map Collection. This will give you a chance to check out some of the distribution and population maps throughout the world. All right, thank you. We'll see you for 3.1 Study 3 next.